During the 2-year-long war on Gaza, you may remember the Israeli officials deployed by the state to confuse, deny, deflect accusations, any request for verification of what Israel was doing in Gaza. They all said the same kind of things on the podium to millions of people watching. Here in the West, especially, the difference between mainstream media coverage and social media was stark. TikTok was altogether an untamed beast back then of a platform. In the tiny press briefings, everyone was wearing suits and dresses, and polite questions would be asked. Polite, maybe diplomatically evasive answers would be given. We're looking into it, and that would be that. Business as usual, right? That's how history has always been. But then you'd hop on TikTok and man's walking around with a sack. And when asked what is in the sack, he's like, fragments of my family, my G. I'm just looking for other body parts. Kids with their faces covered with rubble sticking out from under layers of buildings. It made me think of lasagna. You know how it's in layers and there's like stuff in between? And America, the chief financier state of what the heck is going on in the Holy Land, the unholy crimes going on in the Holy Land against civilians, the main backer of Israel, the US, basically gave a diplomatic shrug. I don't know what's going on. They have a right to defend themselves. Well, I've got two things to share with you today. Number one, remember how in Gaza there was a tally. This many people have died, this many people have died, this many people have died. Now, 71,000 people have been unalived, according to the Gaza, run health ministry, the health ministry run by a, very conservative estimates, by the way, 71,000. Real numbers likely much higher because the people who are lost are not counted in that total. And lost probably means you're buried under the rubble or abducted, taken somewhere, and some group have defended themselves by taking you out, chucking you in a mass grave, calling it a day, right? Those numbers are not even added to the total tally yet. So yeah, 71,000. That number, as it rose over the 2 years, would time and time again be mentioned, and the Israeli spokesperson for the nation state of Israel would contest that number. 71,000. Who told you that? Who is giving you this running total? Is it Gaza? Is it the Gaza-run health ministry? That's run by the Palestinian resistance, but they don't call it the Palestinian resistance. Remember, that's just me talking. They call it a T group, right? I don't want to even mention it, right? I don't want to mess up the reach of this video. So can we trust that group? You know, the numbers they're giving you. How can you trust them? How can you trust them, right? Well, in the last 48 hours, turns out Israel trusts them. Israel has quietly confirmed that, yes, those numbers are fully legit. We agree. We say yes. We admit or acknowledge. 71,000 people have lost their lives, for sure. According to us, at least now. Which means, Western standards, is now the law. That's completely haq now, because the Israelis said it. I said, at the time, some of you dedicated listeners may remember, I said at the time, Israel's modus operandi, their method of operation, is to deny and confuse while they're carrying out something horrific against civilians. Then later, when it's all calmed down, citizen sentiment across all relevant, notable population bodies, when everything's calm, attentions move somewhere else, maybe to the flippin' 3 million files released, Epstein something, quietly then confirm that, yes, all of that, what you were talking about, it was true, brah. Yeah, sorry, so about that. So that's my bad, my G. That's my bad. I'll make sure next time. Emotions have calmed by then, for most people. I said over a year ago, that's what Israel may do again with these numbers coming out of Gaza at the time. That's the first, and they have done that. That's what I'm saying. They've done that today, confirmed. That's the first thing I wanted to mention. The second thing is the US just approved $6.5 billion worth of military equipment to be sold to Israel, the state I just talked about. Because, why? Because Iran bad. You need to defend yourselves. We need to prepare Israel to defend themselves. After they throw a punch or I throw a punch for them, and then we get punched back, we need to defend against that punch back. So I need to sell them weapons. It's not my choice. I've been backed into a corner by myself, but there's no talk about that. It's a sale. That's the important piece of information that I want to just analyze on as I wrap this video up. It's a sale that's worth $6.5 billion. As in, Israel pays the US for stuff. For better or worse, the relationship between these two once uber-tight fast friends, that bond is wavering. That bond is weakening. The US, mark my words, this is my analytical forecast, the US will move away fast from financing Israel, from giving aid and grants, that don't need to be paid back, and they'll move towards sale of weapons, a sale that benefits the US. Sadaqah, charity, is not the same as a business transaction, is it? If I give charity to someone, which the US was doing to Israel, that's a step much higher, more generous than if I sell someone something at a shop, of course. So this is a sale, right? The question is, will the American people and their elected officials push further? They've been pushing these last 2.5 years. Will they push further? And by further, what? Will they push so that even sales to the Israeli state by America are not allowed? The more the people push, especially in a country like America, where civil liberties are largely quite expansive, where the people have a direct say, by and large, in their quote-unquote liberal democracy, though it is sliding out of that sort of category, but it's still there to some extent, to a large extent, to be honest, compared to many other countries in the world. The people there could say, actually, no, not in our name, please. Not blood on our hands, please. I'm not interested in that at all. Many cried, not in my name, not blood on our hands, on the streets in protest. Many did that here in the UK, and it actually led to action. The government said, okay, fine, we'll stop. We'll divest, which means the opposite of investing. We'll take our money out of anything that sort of sells weapons to Israel. And they're constantly railed on, oh, are you still selling any parts? Are you still sending the flipping screws? I heard there's screws in the F-35 that you're selling. You're flipping selling. You need to stop doing that. And the government's like, no, we're not selling screws, I promise. We're just donating screws to the pool of screws by all countries. And then Israel might get some screws. And they're like, I knew it, you're selling screws. There's a lot of pressure here in the UK, basically, is what I'm trying to say. In the US, the pressure is much less. But the question remains, will the citizen sentiment push in the direction so that charity, which has now become sales, goes one step lower into very difficult sales, and then eventually into, screw it, it's just not worth it, it's too much of a headache, everyone's hating on us, let's just divest from Israel. And if that happens, if that comes fast enough, Israel may be in a very difficult position very soon. For better or worse. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. That's some nice tea. I'm such a softie, man. I love my sweet tea. This is sweet, it's so sweet. It's not like black coffee in the morning because I'm so tough. None of that, bro. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, 2 sweetness, please. For the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mahfouz Talukder, aka News Baba. And I'll see you on the next one.